I got invited by a guy who was a prince to go to the South Pacific on a billionaire's private yacht. I performed 2.5 weeks on the yacht with everybody, and then potentially the guy who invited me might have actually been a con man and not a real prince.
What do you mean?
Yep. It was one of the craziest stories.
Wait, you're going to tell me about
this?
Yeah,
this is, you want the real story?
Yeah.
So the real story is that I met this guy at the W Hotel in LA. I was there and I was doing some magic, just happened to be at the bar hanging out, did a little bit of magic. He's like, I want you to come to like my like party. It was at the Playboy Mansion. And I was like, of course. They ended up changing the event to like another house or whatever, but it was still a party. He lived in Texas. I did like 3 events for him. One for like some serious, like the ballet type stuff, all this crazy events. And I get a phone call and he's like, hey, would you want to come to like Tahiti and like be like an entertainer on this yacht? And I was like, I can't even afford the flight, but we'll figure it out. I did it. I ended up meeting everybody on the boat, and it's for 2.5 weeks. Like I was doing magic like every other night. They had like a pianist on it. Like they had like amazing artists, and I was just a guest in a sense. And then like a couple months later, I get like an email being like, this guy is like bad news. I hope you're not a part of that. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, and by the way, I was like a 25-year-old like magician. Like I did not have like, I barely could afford the flight to Tahiti because I think that was like $2,000 at that time.
Did he pay you?
No, no. I was like a guest, but like, what are the odds? And then like, I found out then they were like, I did some like little research that he might've not been who he was. I was like, what? So
what was he where is he now?
I have no idea.
Is he alive?
Idea. I would imagine so, but like his whole story was like crazy. He was like all part of like the Houston's like society, like high society. Like he was hanging out with like billionaires and like athletes and throwing crazy parties, like private dinners, not just like a house party. You know, he was like throwing like these insane dinners for like the socialites of like Houston, Texas.
Welcome to That One Time with Adam Metwally, the podcast conversing the pillars of health, wealth, art, and wisdom for all your holistic hustlers out there. Today, we are at the beautiful Music for a While studio, and I'm with Kevin Nicholas, the Modern Mentalist. Hi, Kevin. Welcome.
What's up?
So, what are the psychological principles that underpin a magician or a mentalist's work?
Well, I think the one thing that people have to stop thinking about is like, oh, you're just fast with your hands. Like, oh, it's just too fast for, the hand is quicker than the eye, which is a true statement. But the reality of that is that I can do the exact same effects in slow motion and still create the same result. So I always want people to think that's not so, but there is a sense of using psychology, misdirection. Misdirection is where I will always control a situation, thinking a couple of steps ahead, which is something that so when people ask me, does it ever not work? You would never know. It's kind of like if a comedian's telling a joke, if you don't know the punchline, you don't know when the joke ends. So you could be like, well, that didn't work. Well, did it not work, or I changed it up. Okay. So magic is kind of like a jazz routine a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know, there's always something going on, and there's always ways of moving around things, which I think is pretty cool.
Cool. So I want to dig in a little bit more on the key lessons that the toolkit that you've developed has had a positive impact on in your life, and how other people listening could apply that.
Should we start from like really the beginning?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go into the beginning. Get ready to just completely suck at everything you want to start with. It doesn't matter if you think like, okay, like even natural talent doesn't help you in anything other than understanding the principle of what you're doing. So like there are people that are, so good at music, they can see something, they understand it, but at the same time, your hands still have to make that moment. You understand it, you see things, but you still have to go through that momentum and find that passion. When things come easier, you actually, in my personal opinion, are not as good. I think I've struggled with that. That's something that I've learned from my life, is that when the easier things come, the less you care about them because of how quickly that comes to you. And so to me, if you're not pushing yourself to where things get even harder, then you just stay dormant. You start doing the same things and it's comfortable and you're on cruise control. And that could, even being on cruise control doesn't mean you're not going to be successful, but you're not going to push yourself to higher levels. For what I've gone through, I knew what it was like being 15 years old, working 15 hours. I was working anywhere between 5-6 hours a night, working restaurants, table to table, doing card tricks, asking people if they want to see magic. Like, you know what that, like being a 15-year-old, like walking up to a table and being like, hi, you want to see a card trick? Like, I'm the magician tonight at this restaurant. And then being on like a date. Like, I remember my first table I ever did, the guy said no to me. And he was on a date. Like, he was on a date. I was like, hi, I'm Kevin. And I was in like this oversized suit. I looked like so I can remember it to this day. My first table where I was, my restaurant, this guy gave me a shot to like work there. And that night, I think I made like $70. Like, it was this moment.
Was it commission only? Like,
yeah, it was like, I was just making tips.
Okay.
I was just making tips at that time. And, but I was like, it was cool though. Like, I wasn't working at like, at that time, like obviously within a year or two, I would be working at like a mall or something. Like, probably should have worked at Abercrombie for that time. But I did that, and that was the lesson. And it was just going through that process of learning everything to where every card trick, the way I walked up to a table, the confidence that you get, that's what makes you good. It's like, you'll learn that you're good at something when you can just go in and be like, hey, we want you to do this. But when you get that feeling where, how to put it, you get a little uncomfortable, you still get those shakes, you still get that excitement, which is what I'm actually fighting for now in my career, to the point where I'm doing this. I've been doing this well over 20 years now. Like, I started when I was like 13, 14. So, which is even older than most people, to start this. It was a hobby that I understood quickly, but yeah, it's, so my advice, if that's what it is, you're going to go through every single bit. You're going to go through highs, lows, but you better understand what you're getting yourself into, and if you want to be the best at it.
Yeah. So something that comes to mind with your early days was the Beatles were playing at this one venue for a really long time, every single night. And they just practice because they played at this random bar. And it's like famous for the fact that it was like where they got good. So those tables of 6 hours a day, it's probably very helpful.
You get through that. You get through that 10,000 hours of mastery really quickly. And
if you can get paid a little bit on the way, even better.
You can get paid on the way, and you don't got, like you say, you don't got to work at that. And I knew I was getting good when I was coming home with like $200-$300 a night in tips.
Yeah.
I was making more money than drug dealers at my school. Like, I was like I was literally coming out with like a wad of cash. It was awesome. And I just would throw it in like this bin. And it was nice going to the mall, not having to buy whatever you wanted at that time, So but like you say, it's those moments. And it was also, I will tell you, the best time. It was the best time ever, because I was just doing it to have fun.
Yeah.
It was not a business. It was not, I think the hardest thing for a lot of people, maybe not in our industries of understanding, but the time it stops being fun is very scary.
Yeah.
Especially for what we do. there is a work side to things, but the moments that it stops being not loving what you do, and this is what you've given up years of schooling for, the stuff that, you're on this different journey that is not normal. You got to find a fun in it. You got to find out what it is that your why. Yeah. Why are you going through this? Because, it's not as easy as getting a 401k, working 9 to 5, getting that check every week or every 2 weeks, So
I think it's switching from being an artisan to an operator, like a business operator. They're two very different things and very different skill sets and very different goals. So trying to find the art in the business when you do make that switch is the important part. So I want to dig into a little bit more how you learned to become a magician and how people could create this themselves.
So there's not we live in a time when access to anything is a couple of clicks away.
Yeah.
As simple as Googling magic tricks, you will find magic websites left and right. You will find the same tricks that a lot of artists are doing just by going through these websites and being capable of buying. Because magic tricks, there are different types of magicians. You have creators, you have people that are creating magic, then you also have performers, and then you have a little bit of both.
So which one are you?
I'm more of a performer.
So what's the difference?
You have guys that are literally creating concepts, marketing them, and having artists like me buy them and creating our own ideas to them or taking other ideas. Magicians are like chefs.
Yeah.
When you understand how to make the foundation of what you're doing, then you could take any ingredient you want and make that dish.
Yeah.
So if you were a chef and I said, these are your ingredients, you know what to do and work with that. As the same thing like a magician or a mentalist. We see an idea. We don't know if the exact idea is how they're doing it, but we can figure it out and create the illusion that we want to.
Are there any magicians that have blown you away recently?
Oh, hell yeah.
Really? Still?
Oh, yeah.
Still to this day, you're like, what the fuck?
There are guys that literally, I'm just like, I'm just going to throw my fucking cards away. I should not even own a deck of cards, how good some of these artists are.
So what makes them so good?
They just perfect things to a different level. And there's, a perfect example is this. You have people that are so technically amazing at what they do. You can think of like somebody like as talented as like Adele, right? Like who's
the LeBron James of magic?
In which capacity? Like who? Like the GOAT?
The GOAT, yeah. Oh, because
he's
the current GOAT.
No, then you're gonna say Michael Jordan. Then you ain't putting LeBron James in that game, bro.
Okay, no, the current playing GOAT.
Right now in magic or in mentalism?
I guess we'd have to explain the two.
So right now, the most popular mentalist and magician is probably my boy like Oz Perlman, who's on every single like network. He's on, all that. Like he is like, there's not like David Blaine is still like the name to say like, oh, like David Blaine, but nobody comes up to me and is like that magician that was on like Hard Knocks or that stuff. That's like, Oz Perlman. Like, and he's one of the hardest working guys I've ever seen. Like I can't imagine how many shows he does a year. So with him, he's the, in my eyes, like one of the most poster child, like that's a career you dream to have.
You mentioned in the rapid fire that there are psychological archetypes that you've understood throughout this process. What are some of those and how did you actually get to a point where you began to understand them?
I think you realize like when you design a trick or when you start working with a trick that's for you, you start dissecting it from the complete ground up. Like it's completely naked and you start saying, okay, like, how to explain this? Like this is just a normal deck of cards, just so I'll even shuffle them one more time just to shuffle those up. Now, look, let me ask you while we're doing this, you saw one of my shows.
Yes.
What was, and by the way, he was on the stage with one of my shows. And so I know his personality, and he's one of those guys that's actually trying to, not dissect it, but he wants to make sure that I'm as good as I am. Like, that's like what it is. It's not so much, if I remember you picking a card or me saying take a card and you took the top card, like you're like, I'm taking this one. So which makes it so good, which makes me think about like your personality and how you'd want something. So, so for the audience and for everybody here, if I said to you, name a card out loud, what card would you want to use?
3 of spades. Is that one? Spades?
Yeah, 3 of spades.
You put me on the spot there.
You're putting him on the spot. So I have to figure out, in a way, how to take this card right here and make that the 3 of spades. So that, like, just like that. Now, it's funny because, like, I'll leave out about middle of the deck here, and then it going inside, it's not my fingers, it'll just come like that.
So dumb. So what am I missing here?
Yeah, what are you missing? It's to that point where you just watch it, it'll change completely to some 8 of hearts. It doesn't really matter. Here, he's going to rewind that in slow motion here.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
actually.
right. There you go. So we'll just shuffle them up one more time here. And
anyone listening to this on audio is going to be so
mad.
confused.
So wait, we're looking at this. So we have the ace of clubs here, though. Without ace of clubs, I'll leave it right here. With the ace of clubs.
Can I look underneath that?
Well, actually, I was going to say to you right now, with that 8 of hearts here, can you take a card? He still goes for the first one. I love it. So with the 8 of hearts there, and what's that?
3 of hearts.
Oh, that's a 3 of hearts?
Yeah.
Here, give me that 3 of hearts.
Okay.
Wait, was this the card no, that wasn't the card you wanted. You wanted the 3 of spades, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I got to make that ace of clubs disappear. And that's yours. And that's just going to piss him off tonight. He's so bad wanted,
it's great.
So it's always about, and like I said, it's kind of like a jazz thing. It's like kind of playing with somebody. How do you want to do this? I could have gone there. I could have just turned it right over. I could have had you pick a card. I could have played around 7 different ways, and I love that. The show is always in my hands.
I'm just kind of sitting here thinking, where are you putting these?
Where are you putting it? What's going on here? Yeah.
So funny. Oh, so apparently you can bend a fork as well.
I can bend a fork. Yes.
Because we said in the rapid fire, that would be the one trick that you would do.
Yeah. This is my claim to fame in a small way.
Really? Because no one could bend a fork before this?
No, many people do, but it is one of the effects that I knew one of the creators of that helped. He designed this method to it, and he produced it, and he was kind enough when I was like 18, 19 years old to give me the time of day, and we talked about it, and I've been doing it ever since. And a lot of people forget about it. One is they're all real forks. So two, you should, yeah.
I mean, it's not that heavy.
No,
It's bendable.
No kidding. What are you like? It's a fork. I didn't say we have to go to like 11 Madison and give me like, crazy stainless steel like here, So, but, yeah, no. So like you understand the illusion of like what it's like to bend a fork or stuff like that. It's just a little crazy though when you can actually see it start bending.
Wait, but you just put it in you just bent it. Can I bend it?
Yeah.
It's a little hard to bend, isn't it?
Come on, big man.
I mean, I don't want to ruin it. Can I bend it and then you unbend it?
Yeah, wait, why don't I just do it? Why don't I just do it this way? So you'd actually just see the moment that it actually just starts bending.
That's fucked.
Here you go. Keep it going.
What if I do this? Can I bend it this way and then you unbend it?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
That's okay. He's like, that's actually kind of cool though. That's actually cool. Wait, hold on. Which way did you go? This way? Okay. That's cool. That's fine. So it looks like that. So now we have like we have a shocker. There we go. West side. Here, why don't we do it this way? We'll just watch it. You'd actually see the moment. We can make them all start bending. Here, you know what though? That's not soft. That's not. Wait, this one will go straight. Here, wait. Actually, we'll do this. Actually, let me do it in your hands. Hold out your hand. Here.
Okay.
Watch this. Here, close your hand tight, like that. So that's we're snapping forks here. We're doing this up. He's holding. He ain't gonna let that crap go ever unless I tell him to. So here, ready? If I could bend it in your hand, that'd be impressive. Now, so ready? Watch this. 1, 2, 3. Not just bend. How about I twist it?
It's gonna be uncomfortable.
This show has already got uncomfortable. Really, we haven't even got to like bad things. Right? All I got to do is one snap of the hand, just like that. Open your hand. That's completely twisted now.
When did that happen? All right. So what have I missed? Can you give us a breakdown, a high level breakdown of what just happened without revealing the trick itself?
Yes.
Just quickly though, I love doing this podcast. If it's positively impacted you in some way and you would like to support us, please subscribe. By subscribing, it allows us to build a much bigger base of listeners, which results in better guests, better production, and a better show overall. Alternatively, please take a look at the affiliate links of the products that I use and love in the comments below and consider purchasing using those links. They'll give you a discount and they'll also provide the podcast a small kickback. These are 2 very easy ways for you to support us as we continue to grow the podcast that we absolutely love doing. Thank you for your support, and now back to the episode.
It's back a little bit. So long story short is I am creating an illusion with misdirection and everything. With the ability of people thinking that it's my mind doing that.
So what is misdirection?
Misdirection is like if I have you look one place, I want you to look somewhere, and something is happening somewhere else.
Okay.
It's like making you put your attention and your focus on something from another area. I think what would be good is like an idea of when I'm not going to do it on this because you'd understand it, but like stealing a watch. Like I can take people's watches. Yes, I can take watches and making someone focus on something while something else is happening.
So are you just a really good pickpocket?
I didn't even have this shit walking in here. I swear to God, they were just a nice gentleman outside.
Oh, that's great. So what are some techniques to misdirection?
That's hard. Like there's not, the only way to learn how to like do what we do is to get caught.
What do you mean?
So like when I was first learning how to like take watches, I was getting caught.
Really?
I was like literally like, I literally had like people being like, "You're trying to steal my watch." I'm like, "Yeah, I am."
On the streets?
No, I was doing them like
Madison Square Garden at a Knicks game.
I was doing them at like restaurants. Like I was like doing it like in the moment and stuff. And then you learn like how to actually like the techniques of how to take a watch. And what's funny is like those are some of my biggest videos on like Instagram. So like there's no hiding it. Like there's no magic to it. You can watch like literally my Instagram videos of like being like, I'm like, watch his watch. That's
coming. Can we do that as a clip?
We'll put a little pin thing in one of the videos for sure.
That's so good. Side note, can you be a magician if you can't snap your fingers?
I do have a good snap, don't I?
I was thinking that.
I was thinking, I've had so many people be like, you have a good snap. I'm like, yes, I would imagine so,
yeah,
but
it's still
just, it hits harder.
It is. It's a good snap.
It's one of those good things, you know?
And you mentioned during the rapid fire that you don't actually get girls doing magic. So surely there's been some positive scenarios. What's been the biggest blow up that you've had when it comes to doing magic and trying to date?
You know what? I think this is actually good. We make a lot more money than people think.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, I think that was like one of the things for me, like in my career, was always like what we do. Like we travel the world, we meet amazing people. We can have a conversation with anybody. Like these are all good qualities. These are green flags. You know what I'm saying? And but a few of them. But like you tell somebody, especially I am single. I'm not single. I'm auditioning. That's what I like to say.
I'm taking resumes.
I'm auditioning right now. Exactly. Is like we have crazy schedules. Our schedules typically are at night, weekends, corporate travel, etc. But we also have that, and then.
It's a game of hospitality and entertainment.
It's a game of hospitality. Like for me, I get along with like, you know, crazy makeup artists and like hairstylists. Like we understand each other so well, you know? But I will tell you that as a magician though, it's the best icebreaker. But like people will be like, can you make a living doing that? I'm like, no, it's okay. No, it's I struggle so much. I struggle working 6 hours a week for the last 20 years of my life. Terrible.
That is a good life.
That's so you start really appreciating what it is to have time to live a beautiful life, and you know it's especially like single. Like some of the things I see on days like this year, they're like, I want to travel more this year. You know, like that's like one of like the prompts that people put. And I'm like, have you? Like, did you get to go anywhere? Have you traveled where? And you start and the people you meet open your eyes to so many other things, whether it's food, whether it's a lot of the private events. I got introduced to wine and certain foods, and I'm a big cigar smoker. That's my little vice. I have hyper ADHD. So it's the only thing that can keep me like sitting down in a chair unless I'm talking to somebody with like a mic in my face. Yes. I cannot, like I will change a subject without even realizing I'm changing it. So which my best friend tells me, she's like, I was just talking about something really important and you literally just changed the topic. And I'm like, I'm sorry. That's just what happens.
Do you think that helped with the ability to be a magician or a mentalist?
I think it allows me to change in a moment's notice. Like if something happens, if there's a heckler, if there's an audience member that's there to work with your show, that change. But I will tell you that like there is a difference from Kevin Nicholas, the stage performer and magician, versus Kevin with my real last name, which no one knows, which I like. No one knows my last name, so Nicholas is my middle name, just in case you're curious.
And then turns out I do, and it's
How do you even pronounce it? So it doesn't even matter. But that persona is completely different.
Yeah,
you know, there's that dude that just is chill out, sit at a bar, cool, calm, and collected, and then there's like Kevin Nicholas, who's
and
like
then the cards come out.
Then the cards come out. Magic.
That's funny. So how do you handle hecklers?
I think I love them.
Really?
I really do. I think they make a show so good.
Just embarrass them until they leave.
No. Like I want them to become, because when they become part of the show and you make it work for, you weren't a heckler, but you had your own persona that made you a part of my show. But if you notice, I still controlled the outcome of what was happening. I had fun with you in the beginning. We and you like developed a sense of fun rapport. I wanted to see where I could take the show when you were on stage, and that allowed me to know where it is. So when you had some of your moments, I didn't just go stop it. I was like, I played into it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the job is to get the audience to be on your side.
Yeah.
Where sometimes it comes off like, yo, and that's what's doing this for 22 years. I'm like, I've seen every audience member. I've seen what it's been like where people have been the absolute highs to the, ma'am, are you still alive right now? Like, are you okay? Like, you're not here right now. Like, welcome to the show. Like, you know, like, and that's all, and you'll experience all of that. So yeah, I love a heckler that's not trying to be a dick. He just wants his part in the show. And that's what they really are. They just want to be noticed, you know, but there are some people that you literally meet and you're like, dude, who hurt you? Like, who kicked your dog as a child?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, who bothered? Like, that, you came out tonight literally to
choose violence.
Like you really want to go, like, I'm not taking your girlfriend away from you. You know?
I don't know.
But like, if anything, like as a magician and like a mentalist, like, dude, we are your best wingman. Everybody needs a magician in the group, you know? It's the easiest thing. Like a friend just like, yo, he's a magician. Everybody would be like, show me a trick. Show me a trick. It's like, you're welcome.
So what trick are you showing on to break the ice?
I typically do stuff if I'm with like a group of friends and stuff, I typically stay away from the card tricks. That's kind of
Do you always have a deck of cards and a fork in your pocket? Great when you're getting takeout.
Not a fork. They're normally around. A deck of cards sometimes, a lot less now.
Got less to prove.
You know, it was fine in like your 20s, but once you get to once you've hit that past closer to 40 than to like 20, having a deck of cards is just like a weird flag. That's just like, real. What are you going to show me a card trick? Like that, there's not, you know, it's good. It's fine. You'll entertain people, but you're not exactly like,
you need to up it.
You have to up your game
a
little bit. I'm sorry guys. If you guys are going out with a deck of cards to meet girls, magictricks.com, pick some other stuff.
I have a deck of cards when I go out.
Do you?
It's just my business card.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's it. It's like I'm a DJ. I'm a DJ.
I'm not a DJ.
Come to
I'm
my
not a DJ.
Yeah.
It's not my personality. It is just a skill that I've developed that happens to be useful.
But you can come to my set.
You can come to my set. You can come to my set.
You invited me.
I did. You were in town.
I got invited and I was already home.
Yeah.
I was already going to bed.
What's the strangest audience member interaction you've ever had? Something that just has been etched into your brain. What happened?
There's a great story. I was in the Bahamas doing an event and I was at the bar and I did some magic for a group there and I did a trick and I predicted a woman's like a person in her phone and she got so freaked out because didn't comprehend that what I was doing was a trick. She went to security. In the Bahamas, by the way, like I didn't understand like how they were even going to take it because they wouldn't understand like what I even did, like, you know. And so she went to security thinking like I like hacked her phone and took all of her contacts and people away. Like I literally had to explain like not how the trick was done, but was like she thought of a name and I predicted it. Like that was it. Like that's what the trick was. And it wasn't anything. And then the woman, another girl that I was like, I met too, like we all like, you know, like when you start meeting people, you just start like, they thought that other girl was like my accomplice.
So the whole thing.
Yeah, it was this whole thing. And I remember that and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to like go to jail in the Bahamas. Like, let alone I have to go to my show. Like this woman literally went to security. It was so crazy. remember.
What did security even say?
They didn't comprehend it. They don't know. They probably thought I was, it's like voodoo.
Yeah, you get burnt at the stake.
You
or
get
something.
burnt at the stake. How do you explain magic to people that are like, I've never seen magic before? In a way, like it was like weird security. It was so funny. By the way, though, that next day, I ended up meeting the GM of the hotel, and then they flew me back like a month later. And I did a residency at the hotel. Sick. I was like, thank God. But that was funny. Yeah, that was probably the craziest interaction.
That is kind of wild. The phone thing is pretty wild.
Yeah, when people think of a name and all of a sudden like you predict that, yes, that is it's not kosher.
I really want to know more.
most people
is
do.
There anything else you can tell us in this
episode?
Because you're leaving a lot on the table.
What do you mean? I'm trying to be so good. I got stories for days.
Yeah, we want cold hard strategy.
Just go on YouTube. Go on YouTube and go on like Magic Tricks Revealed. I'm pretty sure they're gonna.
There's quite a few.
So that is something that is unfortunately, these magicians. What creates popularity is views. Would you rather watch magic being done right, or would you rather watch how it's done? What are you going to watch?
How it's done, yeah.
Exactly. So there are a lot of magicians right now that are exposing other people's work, not mine, but like other people's work, people that are marketing tricks, buying them, and then just exposing it on their Instagrams. And it's like, yeah, that's not, you know what though? By the way, they're never from the States.
Really?
Yeah, we'd find them.
Yeah. Is there some like crazy magician beef going on in the industry?
I wouldn't say beef. I would just simply say like, you see these guys that have hundreds of thousands of followers that are just taking magic and exposing how things are done. And people want to learn it, but at the end of the day, you also enjoy the feeling of being, I don't like the word tricked, but entertained. And I think that's what makes people love magic. That one thing that still in this society where we can find information now just through like a chat GPT or just through a YouTube or anything, it still gives us a little bit of that mystery. And that's the one thing about our art that is really special. So
should you just kind of get all the magicians that are fighting and get them on the Quidditch pitch? That duel to the death, a magic duel to the death.
I'm a little interesting because I only have like 2 magic friends. I am so far removed.
So you guys don't run in packs?
No, we don't. Like there are
gangs?
My boys like
throwing cards at people.
somebody just shooting them at people.
Stealing watches. A dangerous gang of magicians stealing watches
and throwing cards at cops. How dare they? Oh my God, we're probably wearing like little like paperboy hats and stuff, like vests. Oh, that would be funny.
I can picture it right now.
Yeah, it's like the what's the movie? Now You See Me. Now You See Me. Yeah. That's the movie that now they're coming out with a new one. Yeah, there are so many. Well, the funny thing is like I know a lot of magicians, but like as like my friends, I only have like 2 or 3 magician friends that are really like, and we don't even hang out. Like, they have families, they have their lives and stuff like that. And we kind of work together. God forbid, some of us don't have the availability of doing a show. That's our connection. Now, don't get me wrong though. I know a lot of people that are in that community that are all, they're tight. They work on material together. They hang out together. I was just never one of those people, which is so interesting. I was an athlete in high school. I wasn't like a magician where I thought like magic would have been cool. I was an athlete that learned a couple of card tricks and started doing them in the hallway. And I loved the reaction. That's how this all started, people. This is how my career started, from the hallways of Oceanside High School to the now like traveling the world with like, it's kind of crazy.
I find that interesting. At what point were you like, yeah, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life?
Oh, the honor. When I graduated college, I graduated in 2009, and we were in a bad recession, and I could not find a job, and my family was like, "Look, you love this magic thing, you make some money doing it. Why not attempt to do it for a year? Just do it and find a job afterwards. But at least you have something not to like fall back on, but like you know you can make some money." And then year one, I did it, and then a second year, I made a little bit more money, and I was making at that time still more than like a financial analyst at that time.
What did you study?
I studied business management with a double minor in sociology and history.
Okay, so
nothing of magic, no magical arts.
Is there a magical arts school like a Hogwarts?
Hogwarts. You jumped the gun, you bastard. Yeah.
Also an entertainer.
Also an entertainer. Yes. There's there's no magic college in the US from what I know.
What do you think the total amount of magicians there are in America?
Oh, thousands.
It's not many.
Not many. No, in my personal,
quite the niche, isn't it?
I tell people all the time, they're like, how hard is it to succeed in your career? I go,
I feel like it couldn't be that.
Well, that's my point. I'm going, I want you to say five A-list actors. You can do it in a second. Say five, not just like 5 musicians that are top notch. Give me 5 magicians.
David Blaine.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I got.
One. And Kevin Nicholas.
Yeah. And Kevin that's Nicholas. What I meant by default, yeah.
But like my point is that our reach is so different from other art forms that to really make it and do what we do, you really have to be on the top of your game, which is a blessing to me that this is all I do for a living. This is what I get to do. I wake up every morning and I go, okay, I'm going to perform tonight. I'm going to entertain. I'm going to bring people joy and stuff. And there are a lot that do make a living, but just, you know, the one thing is do you want to be the next celebrity magician?
Yeah.
Which I wanted to be and then COVID hit, and that was the low. That was the hardest point of my career. Yeah. Cause you couldn't perform.
Yeah.
And then I realized I don't need to be the most famous magician in the world, but as long as I get to do what I do, perform for the groups that I want to perform for, you know, I could be in the market I do and create my niche there. I'm happy. And it's been like that for about 6 years now.
Great.
So,
yeah. Well, you can still become a famous
if that
magician.
happens, you know, look, I'm not going to say no. I'm just saying it's not like it used to be that like I wanted that's who I wanted to be. Like I needed to be that guy. Like, you know, I'm Mr. Cool. Like I'm against the grain. Yeah. I stopped. I'm like, look, if I do an event that no one hears about me and I can pay my bills, which I do very well. I'm cool with that. Yeah. You know, my midlife crisis was getting a nose ring.
I did that too, don't I?
Did you?
Yeah, I got rid of it after a while.
My 34th birthday, my ex said I would look hot in it, and I got it done, and I kept that. I was like, thanks, Cece. I was like, that was a bait and switch.
That's so funny.
that was a bait and switch.
No, it's good. I had the same thing at like 27 or 28. I had a breakup and then got a nose ring. And then I was like, I had it for a few years. It was fine. And then I did some mushrooms, like a really high dose of mushrooms, and stared at myself in the mirror. And I'm like, this ain't me. I'm just scared. Like the whole thing's moving. I'm like, you know what? I don't think this is me. And I just took it out, and then that was it. Done. Had my few year phase and called it a day.
You know what's funny is when I first got it, I'm like, and I deal in like some of the like really higher end conservative world of like people. It doesn't affect anything.
No,
like
I don't think you're the type of like persona that's gonna be questioned.
No, but it's so funny though, because like I have like it's funny, like doing certain events and like you have like an older conservative Jewish grandma who's like, she's like, you are just and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, nose ring, heavenly tattooed, like I'm fully tatted up everywhere. And then, you know, like you have this moment where like in my show, you know, like my ending, I show like the tank top and everything. And you have these events where they're like, what the fuck did we hire?
But you know what? At any moment you can just make it disappear. So.
Yeah, that's it. It's just a little
magic.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So wrapping up, I want to jump into a couple of general philosophical takes on your world that I'm curious about that I like to ask everybody. So what's the biggest thing over the last 2 years that you've changed your mind on?
The way of me trying to find happiness. Happiness now for me is exactly what I want and not catering to what other people. And that has allowed me true like peace. You know, it's allowed me to live my life right now to be like, okay, I don't need this. I've become a little bit more minimalist. Over the last year and a half, I've become very minimalistic. I call it luxury minimal because everything I like luxury things, but I don't need 5 of the same things. I don't need this and this. And I wake up every morning getting to do what I do and finding happiness. And, you know, I think that's kind of what I've learned over the year and a half is stop catering to everybody else and just focus on me being happy. And that's going to piss some people off. It'll be, you know, a lot of people will leave. You know, it's a little cliche from what people hear. You know, I'm sure it's going to end up in somehow like some like meme or some Instagram thing like find your happiness, piss off everybody else, you know, but it's true though. You know, I've watched people around me grow in other areas and, you know, find happiness for them in their own way because being jealous or upset or resent other people is just going to bring you down. It ain't worth it.
Yeah. It's a hard thing to get to though. How did you get there? COVID.
Go through there or through COVID? Which one?
How did COVID help you get to that mental state?
No, COVID put me through the hardest depression I've ever been in.
And on the other side of it, I mean.
On the other side of it, I lost every bit of financial ability. I had to pay. I went from being one of the top mentalists in the country, going back and forth to LA every week. I had shows everywhere. I was really on a track of doing things that were exciting. And then COVID hit. I lost all of my finances, caused me, when you're not doing what you're meant to do in life, you'd forget who you are. And people would be like, well, you know, what do you know, are you who your job is? I'm like, yeah. You know, you started learning that. Like, that's a really tough thing. It cost me my girlfriend at that time because, you know, I was just in a dark place. Like, it was bad and I hated everything. Like, I hated people. I remember being by myself and like my closest friends who were older than me were like, we didn't even want to be around you.
Oh shit.
It was bad. It was like, because I was just complaining. I was complaining and bitching about every single thing. And, you know, it's like, why me kind of moments. And other people were going through it. But it was, that I remember that moment of being on my lowest and just being like, I have a wonderful, wonderful therapist. And I highly always tell people, I'm like, I am pro therapist to pay somebody to listen to me bitch and moan for an hour. Great.
Yeah.
It is so good. That also like has helped me, but yeah, when you go from so highs to complete low and not know how you're going to get back and not even allowed to, like, you know, like you have no money. It's like, okay, I got to work. I got to hustle. Oh, right. You're not allowed. I wasn't allowed to perform. I wasn't allowed to be around people. That's who I am. That's my why.
Yeah.
And so that was a really dark place.
So how did you get out of it?
Slowly, shows started coming together. I'd wear like one of those like giant like doctor's masks that were clear so you could actually see my face. I created under the same name a show called a Zoom project called Cocktails and Card Tricks, where I taught magic tricks on Zoom for like, you know, team building exercises and stuff. And that was kind of cool. That kind of worked out a little bit, but it literally just, all it did was just pay the bills to keep my lights on barely. I remember my family helping me out at that time. So, and you know, you really, you know, for anyone that's gone through that, like it's hard because especially if you've been so independent and then asking for help, like you don't know what to do. Like, and no one could explain. And like, it's not like your industry makes sense to other industries.
Yeah.
So, so COVID was really a dark time. And I'm also blessed about it. I'm like, cause I've never thought I would be in a position like that ever in my life. Like my nickname in high school was Smiles. Like I smile a lot.
Got a big smile.
I got a big smile. It's very expensive. Great dentist. Great dentist. But that allowed me to remember that if you can get through that, just stop bitching now. Just do it, but you do what makes you happy. That's my thing. And I know it's easier said than done. I mean, but don't think that my success came from 10 years of doing this in high school. Let's just say, Mike, when you get a nickname like Magic Kevin in high school, pre the movie Magic Mike, it ain't cool.
Similar concept to this
similar.
show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Look at these clothes disappear.
Yeah, different show. Charge a little extra, but it's there.
Oh man, I got so many jokes.
Come on, baby. Come on. Let's go.
I love it. So wrapping up, what is one lesson you'd like everyone to take from this?
You're gonna laugh at this. But I think it is something that has developed. It's allowed me to be somebody that people rely on. And it's going to sound corny. When you're early, you're not late. And
you were early.
I am always early for everything. I have event planners that will hire me just for the knowing that I will be an hour early to their event and do not have to worry and get things there. It's a sense of respect to them. It's a respect to whoever and whatever you're doing. And so for all those people like, I'm always late. Yeah, that is a pet peeve of mine. That is an absolute pet peeve of mine.
I'm 5 minutes late to just everything, just on the dot.
But yeah, you cannot be 5 minutes early.
I think I overpack my schedule. That's my problem. I have too much to do.
So now there are understandings of like, you're late for a reason. Like, hey, this ran late. This is going late. You're in a position of that. But I'll tell you this, if you know what entertainers like us charge per hour, you'll be on it that we are early.
Yeah, so that's different, right? Every minute counts.
Every minute. I have literally had people stop dead in their tracks and respect me when I told them how much, when I talked into a show and told them how much I was making per minute.
So what's the most amount you've ever made in an hour?
A lot.
10K?
You're in the boat. You're in the area.
Pretty good.
It's not bad. I bought a Rolex.
Including travel? Was it local?
I've been lucky enough to do really well in that regard. I mean, don't get me wrong. Not every show is that, but what's also really funny is that like I did that show and I was like, would you like me to stay alone? They're like, no, you're good. I did not care. I was like, I didn't charge enough. I was like, I didn't charge enough.
Yeah.
It was such a cool moment, but like, it was like, they were like, we just want you for the cocktail. You're doing so good. Oh my God, you were amazing. I'm like, would you like me to stay a little? They're like, no, you're good. Thank you. Go eat, enjoy yourself. I was like, so easy. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Like what? Okay.
I've been doing this all
Tell
wrong.
your friends.
Yeah. I've got a strategy lately that I've just been putting up my price at 5% every new client to see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll see where it lands. We'll see where it gets to.
I learned a great. It's good advice. It's from a very famous magician here in New York. He wrote it. He said, look, I had to give up X amount of dollars to get my Y.
Yeah.
And for a while, you're going to lose a lot of work.
Yeah.
You have to give it away. You have to do that. But I think people appreciate things that are cheap. They appreciate if you were giving something, like, oh, it's cheap. I appreciate it. Thank you. You do not respect it.
Yeah.
You do not respect. If I offered you this, you're going to say, thank you. You'll take it. You'll watch it. If I charge you Y, you will make sure that the show is amazing. You will make sure that everybody knows who I am. You will make sure my name is said. And that's just a respect thing.
Yeah.
You're taken a lot more seriously. I hate to say it, at least for me, it's not that I'm not screwing somebody over. They just understand the value of what they're paying for and why I am, or they can have something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. It's a fine line. Well, I think America and New York especially is there's so much more money and opportunity in this city. So you can have a bit of you can get really good at your craft and you'll find people that'll pay you.
100%.
In Australia, and especially where I'm from, which is a small city, 200,000 people, you don't get that.
No, but the cost of living is different too.
Way different.
You
Yeah, I
understand
was earning at one point probably like 5 or 6x the median wage. And it was great. But there's a ceiling. You just get to a ceiling and then you never.
You got it, but isn't that, it's crazy though, like over the next couple of months, I will be moving and I'm going to stay in New York. But what you get for it's like you pay for convenience. I don't want to. I just
leave me alone.
Leave me alone. But what we pay just for a 500 square foot box.
Yeah.
800 square foot. Like right now I live in a 2-bedroom with a balcony and everything. And I'm going, I might have to buy a house. I can buy a house easier than me finding this in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Or anywhere else. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's insane what we do to live in New York and why we do it, whether it's family, your journey and what you're doing and stuff like that. But it's like, there was a great meme that I saw today. It was like looking at 30 plus acres in the middle of nowhere, but it's like half the price of like what you're paying now. You're like, oh, right. This is what you get.
Yeah. I mean, that's the end goal.
That's it. Get to live in the city, get your potential more swipes and likes on your dating app.
Oh God.
Awful.
I need some magic tricks.
Don't put magician as your profile.
DJ, podcast, magician.
I'm just gonna say 6'5" blue eyes in finance minus the finance and 6'5". that's what
and to me, blue eyes.
And blue eyes. There you go.
So is there anything you're excited about at the moment that you'd like to let the listeners in on?
Follow me. Modern Mentalist is my Instagram. There will be a lot more public events coming up over the next, I would say, 2 to 3 months where cool concepts that I want to create, not just magic shows, but experiences like what you got to experience. And so please, no need to follow is amazing, but check it out and keep it, because if you like this and what we're going to do, I know we talked a lot more than seeing, but there'll be a little bit more. We'll do a little more B-roll for you. I think that'll be good.
Yeah. Cool, man. And my last question for you is, what is the meaning of life?
To wake up when you are actually awake and not be woken up by a clock.
Honestly, it's not bad.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
To actually wake up when your body tells you to wake up.
Yeah.
That is a blessing in life, you know? And the older you get, you'll just wake up before the alarm anyway. It doesn't even matter.
Cool, man. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course. And if you enjoyed this episode, please go to YouTube and search That One Time with Adam Metwally. Click subscribe, like the video, and leave us a comment.
There you go.